Okay, so Disney's Toy Story is one of their my favorite Disney movie. Toy Story came out in 1995. That movie was a hit back in 95, grossed millions and millions. I did not go see it at the movies because I was too young. The movie came out in 1995, November 1995. I was 5 years old, and I've never seen I never seen anything like it. I remember seeing previews on it on TV. I remember people talking about it, at my school when I was in, pre-kindergarten. Kids would talk about it. I noticed that people were talking about it. It was all they had a lot of commercials. See, this was before we had YouTube. We didn't have social media back then, so people were just, you read about it in the newspaper, you read about it in magazines, you seen it on TV, and it was not a car. It's not like regular cartoon. This is like a 3D animation. It looks lifelike. So when the movie, it also back in the 1990s, movies wasn't released every 2, 3, 4 months. It was movies back in the mid to late 90s. A movie could stay at the movie theater for probably a year, and this movie was at the movies for a year before it was released. I think it was released in 1997, over a year, 97, I think, early 97, before they released it on DVD. That's a long time. And I remember watching it in like 97, whatever it was released, and I was hooked to it. I would watch that movie 10 times a day when I was a kid. Man, I was obsessed with it. Come home from school, watch it. On the weekends, I watch it. I would watch the movie on because back then we had VHS tapes. They were little thick VHS tapes, VCR player. We tape. I put it in the tape, and then every time I watched it, I would have to rewind the tape. And rewinding the tape, it takes about 4 or 5 minutes just to rewind the tape. DVDs, you just play it and pop it. But back then, people, and this not only did it affect my life, but it affected millions and billions of people's lives. Because back then, we didn't have DVDs unless you were rich and famous back in '97. They had DVDs in '97, but DVDs were expensive. They cost probably $800 to $1,000. I'm a poor black guy, so I couldn't afford that. But so my parents, we just had VCRs, and every time we watch a movie, we have to rewind the tape. It takes about 5 minutes, and if you want to watch your favorite part of the movie, you have to rewind it to that. It would take about 15, 20 minutes just to rewind it to the part you want to watch. So people didn't have that DVDs back. They weren't popular back then unless you were rich. And a lot of people were just back in '97. Everybody was using VCR players. But Toy Story, the animation was good. The characters, you had Woody Allen, you had Woody Allen, another guy, Tim Allen, whatever you want to call him. But though, I'm sorry, folks, but like I said, you had Buzz Lightyear, you had Woody, and I'm telling you, the movie was really good in '95. It was something different. The movie won Golden Globes nominations. Just people even today talk about it. And they also came out with Toy Story 3, Toy Story 2, which came out in 1999, Toy Story 3, which came out 2010, and Toy Story 4, which came out recently, about 2019, about 2 years ago. I didn't like the fourth movie too much, but the first three movies were pretty good. They were really good trilogy, which just rarely happens. And I loved the Andy characters about a boy and his toys. And usually I had a whole bunch of toys when I was a kid. When I was like 10, 12 years old, I used to have a whole bunch of kid toys, but I grew out of it. Once you get to be about 13, 14, you get rid of all your toys. You give them the Goodwill. You get a garage sale, you get away some of your toys. But I do, a lot of people can relate to when you're 5, 6, 7 years old. You have a lot of kids play with toys when they're kids. Then they grow out of it. They start, dealing with teenage stuff. But anyway, Toy Story was a good movie. Miss J here.